In my next crappy video.
Let's make a Trash Taste podcast shirt for my husband. So in October, around the 14th, I think that's a Friday, we are going to be attending a live Trash Taste podcast event in Orlando. The Trash Taste podcast is doing a tour of the United States. They come all the way from Japan, and I'm going to have a hard time explaining what their podcast is actually about, so you can YouTube it. Make a Trash Taste shirt. I'm actually going to be starting with a bright white t-shirt. My husband just bought this one online, and from here I'm going to be adding some crochet sleeves. So I will need to measure the armhole opening so that I can crochet a number of chains that corresponds to this armhole opening. This one's about 9.25 inches, and of course I'm going to be needing some yarn. This one is Bernat Super Saver in the color Mulberry, and a 7mm crochet hook. In addition to this yarn, I'm also going to be using embroidery thread and an embroidery needle. The sleeves to go around the armhole, I just chained 53 and then I did 52 linen stitches. So I know I look really smug here, but in reality this sleeve was much too wide and much too long to fit the actual shirt that I was using. So yeah, after this I proceeded to rip back and recreate the sleeve many times. In the end, what I decided to do was to start with a chain. Like I said, it was 53 chains, 52 stitches, and the first row that I did was single crochets just to set me up for my linen stitch. And then after I did 10 rows of linen stitch, I joined and proceeded to work in the round. At the end of the day, I found that this was the best method to both attach the sleeves and have a better control over how they fit. So before attaching the crochet sleeves to the shirt, I thought it would have been a great idea to, trace the logo and embroider directly onto the jersey. This, as I share with you later on in the video, was a big honkin' mistake. I didn't really use a stabilizer. I completely forgot that you had to stabilize your jersey when you are working with it. And the thread, oh, it was just awful, the thread I was using. But anyway, please enjoy this tiny bit of pointless footage of me embroidering something that I will later on not be using. I think it's important that I also share my mistakes with you guys, because I perceive that some of you might be under the illusion that I do not make mistakes, and that is far from the truth. I just I'm very good about moving forward, basically. But yeah, and I decided to embroider directly on a cotton fabric and just go in and out to fill in my drawn lines. Hi. So, after many failed attempts at embroidering directly on this knit shirt, I finally realized that I had to use stabilizer. That's why. And then I was like, well, if I have to use stabilizer anyway, I think I'm just gonna embroider on a piece of linen and just sew a patch onto the shirt. So that is what's going to happen today. We are T-minus 2 days to the event for which my husband wants to wear this sweater. Well, sweatshirt, long sleeve shirt, whatever. And there's It's been several setbacks. Like I said, this embroidery took a while because I did not like this wonderful razzle at all. I hadn't realized it's 100% rayon, and it wasn't my friend. I finally got it to look nice because I steamed this. I steamed that. And it looks so much better. Like, it flattened out the stitches. I also ran out of yarn, and I had to order some from Amazon, and it cost about $7 more than I originally paid for it. But it was only after spending this obscene amount of money that she realized she didn't really even need it. Of course, first she had to crochet and rip back a whole other sleeve. So anyway, let's get to sewing. Cut logo and then proceed to turn the square piece of fabric into a more circular shape, and then of course proceed with cutting all the embroidery thread from the t-shirt. After crocheting the sleeves to the shirt, footage which has been mysteriously misplaced, and deciding on matchy-matchy outfits, we were on our route to the Trash Taste Podcast live event in Orlando, and this is the only picture of that event. There we have it. That's the reveal of the Trash Taste inspired crochet hacked sweater, because as you saw from the vlog and the reveal, I just crocheted the sleeves and then I embroidered the Trash Taste logo, which is this little garbage can right here. So overall, I'm happy-ish with how it turned out. There were a lot of things that were very frustrating in the making of the sweater. I think in the total amount of times that I ripped back these sleeves, I could have probably crocheted an entire sweater. Yeah, I don't know why. The sleeves and I just weren't seeing crochet to eye, basically. And you can tell I do like how the right one came out a lot better. In the end, I thought they were a little bit too baggy, so I did just kind of do a seam. You know, I pushed the bagginess together and I just whip stitched it to try and eliminate some of that bagginess. It wasn't as effective on this sleeve as it was on the other sleeve. I did rip them both back to the same place. I switched hook sizes. I ended up going with a 6.5mm crochet hook right after like 10 rows. And then I started doing decreases all in linen stitch, and finally for the final part, for the cuff, I just went down to a 5.5mm crochet hook. But yeah, so overall I got it done by the deadline, which was Friday, October 14th? Was it 14th? Friday? This Friday, because today's Sunday. So this Friday for the Trash Taste live event in Orlando, Florida, which we were at, and he got to wear it, and I actually remembered that Mom had left her version of the Summer Breeze top here, so I raided the closet of clothes she has here, and I actually found it, and it was great because we were basically a matching crochet couple. Very easy to identify each other because my husband was the only one in a white shirt that had purple sleeves. So yeah, that is it. Thank you for joining me on this endeavor. How do you feel about just adding crochet pieces to your wardrobe? I know I've done other thrift flips where I've just said, well, let's add crochet to this so we can have a crochet hacked sweater instead of just actually making an entire crochet sweater. I will say that, like I said, things that I will do differently is definitely follow the sleeve width of the shirt. There was no need to make it a little bit wider. And probably 5 rows into it, since I was using a 7mm hook and worsted weight yarn, I could have probably just started decreasing every other row. I still think that even though I decreased every other row, you can still see like a huge dip right at the elbow here, which
only happened in one sleeve, but if you just cross your arms, which is how my husband tends to sit or stand anyway, you can't tell. So yes, thank you for joining me on this chaotic making of a trash taste podcast sweater. And I will see you next week, actually, for my Halloween. I hope to finish my Halloween make to share that with you in a video, and then after that there will also be another video. So I have all these makes planned for the month of October that I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy making them with me, and tell me if it's something that you would attempt. I think it's a great idea if you just have a sweatshirt and you want to give it an update. You could just crochet the sleeves and sew them like I did to the shoulder seam of the blouse, or you could actually just start your sleeve lower and sew it or attach it with crochet to the bottom part of the sleeve. I think that would be really cool as well. So yeah, just some ideas for you on how to make crochet a part of your everyday. I will see you in my next crappy video. I will see you in my next crafty video, and until then, happy crafting and bye!